You can't even see me. I decided to go ahead and open it up just so that we're open and we can get started as soon as people start coming in. I'm not supposed to be open on here until 7 o'clock, but what the heck? Right? Really? I mean, it is what it is. Hello. Okay, I'm assuming it's 7 o'clock. So, welcome to today's live. We are going to be discussing an ice-free Arctic Ocean on today's live. Now, first off, what made me decide to do this live? Well, actually, it was something I saw online that said that it could actually happen as early as within the next decade or within this decade. But this brings up the question, what exactly? That doesn't help either. Darn it. What is an ice-free Arctic? What are the consequences of wildlife? Hello, Carol. And what are the consequences for wildlife and also for us? With that, let's get into today's discussion. Like so many things that scientists talk about, we aren't exactly sure when this event is going to take place. But there is something that you need to know before we jump into this subject head first, into the Arctic Ocean. You need to know some stats. Right? Because we all need to know stats. Stats are important. That's too much light. The Arctic Ocean is 5.4 million square miles, and it is the world's smallest ocean. Arctic sea ice covers 6 million square miles, while the Antarctic sea ice covers 7 million square miles. Now I'm thinking that additional square miles is shoreline. Since 1979, the ice on the Arctic Ocean has lost 772,204 square miles of ice. In 2022, the ice covered an area 11 times the land area of California. From 1981 to 2010, the sea ice went through an 82% reduction. In the last decade, the Arctic sea ice has declined by 95%. By the way, California has, and I meant to say this earlier, but it wasn't where I needed it to be, has 163,696 square miles of land. For February 2024, there was 5.64 million square miles of ice on the ocean, and the air temperatures were 18 degrees above normal for February. Are you still there, Carol? I got disconnected and reconnected. I hope that's not the way this is going to go. So some scientists are saying that this could happen within 1 decade, or it could be ice-free in 2024. The scary thing is the current climate model shows the ice disappearing completely over the summer in the coming decades. Some scientists say that the sea ice won't totally disappear. However, sea ice below 1 million square kilometers no, that is just Arctic, would leave a large chunk of the Antarctic Ocean free of ice. Now, most of us don't live, most of us don't live anywhere close to the Arctic Ocean, but that doesn't mean you won't feel its impact. You won't feel the okay, I need to restart that sentence because I read it wrong. Now, most of us don't live anywhere close to the Arctic Ocean, but that doesn't mean that you won't feel its impact if these climate models hold true. Normally, the ice would bounce the light back from the sun into the atmosphere, but with less ice, think of my hand coming down. The light would hit the ice and bounce back up. But with less ice being on the water, the light hits the water and is absorbed into the water along with the heat. This warms the water, and sadly, it's just enough to make it harder for the ice to form in the winter. The ice helped to lessen temperatures around the world. In a world without sea ice, the temperatures around the world would rise. And it isn't just temperatures that will rise. Sea levels will also rise. Now, since 1900, the sea level, that is ocean level, has risen 7 to 8 inches. If we lose the Greenland ice sheet, we could see a rise of almost 20 feet. It will mess with global weather, and I think we're seeing some of that already. This is going to be a short live because I'm almost finished with what I have. So if that's the case, we're going to do something. Loss of sea ice will affect polar bears because the seals will actually get in there and they will make their dens in the sea ice or along the edges of the ocean. And polar bears also hunt via the breathing holes that seals produce in the ice. So without being able to get out onto the sea ice, polar bears will not do so well. They need that sea ice. Walruses and other seals will find it harder too because during the winter, the walruses can get out there on the sea ice and they can form their groups without having to come onto land necessarily. Almost all Arctic animals will be affected by the sea ice. As temperatures rise, another thing that's going to happen is permafrost is going to begin to, the ice in the permafrost will begin to melt. This is going to cause methane that is trapped in the permafrost to rise up. And this is going to cause higher temperatures as well. not in the Arctic, but it could impact the Antarctica. Most of what I'm doing is focusing on the Arctic, but definitely we could see impacts in the Antarctica. So let me see if my Chromebook will. There it goes. So I don't have the facts right in front of me for Antarctica. But I am going to look that up. Remember, we don't have penguins in the Arctic, so important to keep that in mind. However, Antarctica is likely warming at almost twice the rate of the rest of the world and faster than climate change models are predicting. Yeah, definitely, because the polar bears, the Arctic fox chases after the okay, let's see. So in some places the sea ice is melting rapidly, and in other areas it's growing due to unusually large snowfalls, an increase of several inches or around 20 centimeters per year caused by disruptions to climate. Now, this doesn't mean that things in Antarctica are not on the decline, because they are. Each year, the ice sheet is shrinking. By the year 2020, the speed of ice loss in Antarctica had multiplied sixfold over 30 years. So there are fears that the West Antarctic ice sheet, that as it melts, it would contribute over 10 feet to rising sea levels over the next 200 years. So it's not going to directly impact our lives, because 6 million years or 200 years is a long time. But these changes are occurring much more quickly. And we're gonna keep going on this, because yeah, the East Antarctic ice sheet, there are some areas that are remaining pretty stable. However, the Toten Glacier, which is the largest glacier in East Antarctica, it alone contains as much ice as the West Antarctic ice sheet, and has the potential to contribute 11.5 feet of sea level rise. And it is one of at least 6 glaciers in East Antarctica that are melting rapidly. The glaciers along the Wilkes Land coast. Yep. In the Wilkes Land coast in East Antarctica, doubled the rate of melting between 2009 and 2018. Satellite observations of glaciers in that area have dropped about 9 feet in height. So, pretty scary when you think about it. The Antarctic ice sheet holds almost 90% of all the fresh water on the planet. It has the potential to submerge entire coastal cities and reshape entire states on the map. But even a modest sea level rise of only a few feet would displace roughly 250 million people that live within 3 feet of high tide today. So if you live in a section that gets hit by high tide, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but this is your warning. If I see that again, we're going to have issues. So CATURBUDI, cut the proverbial doo-doo. That's your only warning. In the 20th century, sea levels rose about 6 to 4 inches. By 2020, sea levels were rising even faster than they were in 1990, by more than 2 times that rate. By the end of the century, we could see, you could see a sea level rise of 6 feet. So that is a little scary because we already have islands where it is noticeable. So I hope that answers some of your questions on Antarctica. Well, not necessarily. Just places in California. Not all places will have issues. Just low parts of it. Yes. Now, there are people who say that, hold on. There are people who say that the Earth goes through cycles, and it does. It certainly does go through cycles where it gets hot, and then it gets cold, and whatnot. And that is true. It does. However, we are multiplying that, and you don't have to agree with these forecasts. But bottom line, it's happening. And if you live on the coast, good luck. Or maybe your grandkids need to look. I don't know. But we are seeing the results of warmer oceans when we look at things like storms over the oceans. That helps to warmer oceans help to generate more storms. Unfortunately. Yeah. Life will have to readjust. And it probably will have to readjust again. The earth doesn't stay exactly the same, and hasn't stayed exactly the same as it was in other decades or years or whatever. It does change. That's part of life on planet Earth. Exactly. Look at hurricanes. I mean, definitely not every hurricane has been monsters, but there's a greater chance of that happening. As things get worse. Yeah, Katrina was definitely one that you could look at it and say warmer oceans. A hurricane that is moving slower as it approaches could become catastrophic because it's soaking up that heat as it moves across. These conditions could also cause more tornadoes. One thing that sometimes happens is we get that. If you live in the Midwest, maybe other areas gets this too. We occasionally get Arctic vortexes that come down, pushed down by the believe it's the jet stream. So warmer air being pushed down, yeah, we could see a shift in things potentially. Now, I say all of this, but also there is hope. Scientists are working with countries to maybe halt this progress. We can't fix what has already happened, but we can slow down maybe the ice melt. So maybe it won't be as catastrophic as we thought. That is a possibility. Not a really good possibility, but a possibility. But it would require everybody working together And yeah, I don't see that happening. But make no mistake, if the oceans do end up rising, it's not going to be pretty. Okay, any questions about what we've talked about tonight? I know it's been sort of doom and gloom. So let me go through real quick and just give you a heads up. Tomorrow, Saturday at 3 p.m., we are doing game day here in the live. And then Tuesday at 7 p.m., we are going to be discussing zoo animals and the good and the bad. We will be going over the bad thing and then talking about the good things that are tied to that topic. And I think I have 14 different topics that we're going to be going over. So be looking for that. Again, that's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. And then Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be doing the zoos. The zoo animals, sorry. If you have questions or comments about the channel or anything else related to today's topic, or maybe you have ideas for lives for future topics, feel free to share those, because my ears are always open, so are my eyes. So this is as much your channel as it is mine. I will be answering all questions that pop up via shorts from now until the end of time. Or until, whatever. Guys, before I forget, we hit sort of a mini milestone. And I'm not waiting till, I'm not going to wait to announce this. I'm going to announce this now. We are at 455 subscribers as of right now. So pretty awesome. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Any other questions or comments about anything that we've discussed, or that you might have answer or questions that just are popping in your head and you don't know where to put those questions? I was hoping we'd have more people, but at least the problem didn't continue, so that's good. Hello, people. I don't know who's in because I can't see your names. But we talked about today, we talked about the melting of the Arctic sea ice. Sort of a gloom and doom topic, but still an environmental topic that was really important. So if you missed it, I suggest once the live goes public that you watch it, because it was a really good discussion, I think. There are other topics that are planned or things that are coming up potentially in live. I don't think so. I don't think so. Or at least I have not been told. I haven't heard about that, but I imagine that's a possibility. I don't have data in front of me that suggests that lakes will rise or that rivers will rise. Yeah, Carol, I have not heard anything about rivers or lakes rising tied to Antarctic or Antarctic and Arctic sea level rise. I suppose if they lived close to the coastline, it could be affected. That's a possibility. But in our area, probably not. So I'm also looking at doing a live on the animals of the Colosseum. Oh. My thing is they have always for maybe not as long as people have been as we've been alive, but beavers have always built dams on lakes and rivers. It may affect things as far as people go, but in the long run, probably not. So we will definitely be talking about animals just because it's an interesting topic that isn't really discussed that often. Animals that were used in the Colosseum in Rome. So, yeah, it's fitting. I am sorry for misunderstanding. "34 minutes." That is the problem with doing lives that require me to read on the screen. I can't hear voices, or I can't hear your voice suggesting things, so I apologize. Got it. It's in the list. This has been a very weak live this week. We don't have the numbers that we've had in the past weeks. Remember, if you enjoyed today's live, to give it a like. It helps me out and helps other people see it. That was weird. So what's up? Somebody needs to come in and tell me something good now. Because after that discussion, I definitely need to hear something good. I would say I would introduce y'all to tomorrow's topic, but if I did that, then what was the point of doing the topic? Yeah, they should be well on their way into the area. I would think. I know the Sandhill Cranes have been coming for quite some time, which is awesome. Well, that's good. I have 2 likes. I'm sorry, guys. I only get so much information, and then I'm like, well, what can I do next? I should probably, at this point, end live. But what I can do, maybe, is tell you what is coming up, maybe. Woohoo! That's a good thing. I have 856 pages almost. I can. My problem is some of those animals that are mentioned in the Bible don't exist anymore. So coming up, video-wise, on the channel, I have, and some of these I've already done, so I will let you know as we get to them. We've already had red-breasted nuthatch put up. Jewelweed has been put up. I don't even know what they are, so that's something I don't want to speculate on. Squid has been posted. Spotted hyena will be put up probably for Sunday. Pygmy elephant probably will be up for Monday. Danger box will be Tuesday. And what a marsupial is, maybe for Wednesday. After that, we will look at vampire squid, chickweed, primates as a group, quickweed, edible and medicinal, blue flag as a poisonous plant, quickweed as a invasive plant, and daddy longlegs being venomous. And we'll be cracking that myth. So lots of good things coming. I need to enter Animals of the Bible into my list of potential lives. It's a myth. Daddy longlegs it's a myth that daddy longlegs are venomous, and we're going to see if it's true or not. So, yeah. Well, I'm not going to cover. Hold on, I'm readjusting. I am not, at this point, suggesting that they're not yet. I'm simply suggesting that at this point, that there's a myth, and we're going to discuss it. I know, but I gotta hold some type of. If I let it out now, then I have nothing to discuss about for the video. So, yeah. Also, I have been following or leaving videos on TikTok. If that ends, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to decide. Pygmy hippos. Sorry, my nose is itching. I can't just pop into my. Yeah, I did. Yep, there's a video about pygmy hippos. Or there should be anyway. I'm not sure when, because they're not dated, but yep. What? Yep. That's going to be an interesting video. We are actually going to be, or I'm going to be focusing on the pygmy elephant found in Cyprus. So, should be an interesting video. I learned a lot, but that is always the case. Should we go small? No. There's no reason to. It's typically the reason why some animals go small is because of lack of resources. And we don't have that just yet. And even if we did, takes a long time for that to actually happen. Okay. Unless there's anything else, we're almost to an hour. Hello? I don't know who's in. Thank you for coming. I am going to close live. I will see everybody tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Hope to see you then. Goodbye. Have a great week. Talk to you later. Yep.